my name's Christopher Bull. I'm part of the Highwire DTC. I'm actually in my second year of the PhD, and I'm background in computer science. I did my undergraduate at Lancaster, and then went straight on to Highwire, and I'm looking at computing and design, looking at design studios and the educational environments, and specifically thinking about the difference between computing education, design education, regarding the design studios, and differences, similarities. What can I take from one, put it in the other? Yeah. It was interesting. Sometimes it felt quite natural. You're talking to another person. It's just a conversation. And then there are other times when you have to think, oh, okay, Vivica is now talking to someone else. Turn the laptop, and there was many times when I forgot to do that. And they would be just talking into the open at someone, and the other person is responding. Of course, there's the audio's there, but it felt like I was letting it down a little bit. But then you can't be on the ball all the time, toing and froing in the conversation because of how natural it is. And with that, there was obviously it takes my mind off of the workshop a little bit. But not too much, Yeah, I'm now thinking about the needs of the person who's coming along, which actually formed when we did the circle. I don't know what they're called, not the diagrams, the puzzles. We talked briefly about the facilitation of software and the IT and so on, and we reflected on this people that were Skyping in, and also software. And also people in the workshop. When you run a workshop like this, you have people who aren't really participating in the workshop. Their sole purpose is for taking pictures, for running cameras and things like that. Or you might have someone who's facilitating the workshop, but is then also playing with cameras. And they're not going to have 100% attention on the person talking. They'll be checking that the camera is optimal, if you know what I mean. Which is all right in a sense, because you can always go back and play it later. But it then sort of takes them out of the reality of the workshop. But again, at the same time, it's necessary to record it or facilitate the operations. Personally, I think it was the names and faces. I was, I'm obviously trying to be selfish when I come to this workshop. What can I do for my PhD? So the main thing was spotting a few people. I think, oh, excellent, those people are interested in these things. I mean, the premise of this workshop is about remote designing and things like that. That's the key thing. And I'm looking mainly at co-located. But they're two sides of a coin. You can't look at one and ignore the other properly. You should always have an affinity for what's going on. And even then, sometimes you start talking about, okay, how do you do a nice transition between remote and co-located, and that kind of stuff. It was finding 2 or 3 people. I think, great. I can remember those names. I know there's a list of emails somewhere. I'll pick it up later and start a conversation with them, see what happens.